So one of the things that, subhanAllah, I would like to inform you, that one lady, she passed away. And now this is the Shaykh is narrating his story. He's the one who witnessed, and he's the one who was in the graveyard. He said that, from the beginning, the situation was not well. I can see the situation is not well. The face, I can realize, because he's going through experience of 30 years, and smell from the other side and all the other signs. He said, okay, till here I can ignore, and I can just say, okay, maybe it's just a smell coming out of the body and dead body whatsoever. He said until they took the body into that bed, and they carried the bed until the graveyard. The Sheikh saying, in the graveyard, the number can flip the whole car. We want many number in the graveyard. Now we want to carry this woman and put her inside the graveyard or the grave, and she is not moving. The 5-6 brothers are trying to, pull this lady, and she is not moving. He did his best. That body is not moving from that bed. And now he said, I went through all these fiqh issues and all these books. There is nothing like that. Okay, we know if it's bleeding, you do this. If it's broken, you do this. But I never ever come across with this kind of situation, So I have to call one of the mashayikh. And the situation was really bad. So he called one of the mashayikh, and he just in a very fast way, he said, this is the scenario, what should I do? I don't know what to do. So the sheikh said, well, keep reading, start reading the Quran also. So he said, okay, I came back to the dead body, and I started reading randomly, some from the Surah Yasin, some from Surah Al-Qaf, and the first thing, of course, you take the person into the grave is the legs. So I saw the people are able to lift one leg only, imagine. So he said, Alhamdulillah, at least, something better than nothing. So he said, keep reading and reading and reading. And 3 of the sons of this lady, they carry the body inside the grave. And he is still reading. He said, something happened, someone called me, I think, he just dragged me at the back or something like that. I stopped my qira'ah, I stopped my reading. He said, out of sudden, I just saw that 3 sons went inside the grave. They just fell down, because again, the body became very heavy, they couldn't handle it. So they fell down, the body fell down, and the body, hit the grave, and, So he said, what happened? Why are you doing this to your mother? He said, Wallahi, we don't know. She just out of sudden, she becomes so heavy, we cannot carry her. So he said, anyways, I went inside the grave. I'm not stopping reading. I'm just pointing, do this, live this, and do this. And one of the sons, he's crying, continuously crying. So the sheikh said, what's wrong? What's wrong? He said, Sheikh, make sitr, just protect and don't say anything about my mother to anyone. He said, I didn't see anything. What you talking about? He said, that's it, Sheikh. I'm just telling you, please protect the name of my mother at least. The sheikh couldn't understand anything. And then the sheikh wants to come up, and before coming up from the grave, the son said, may I see my mother's face? The sheikh said, okay, let me come up. Let me come out of the grave, and you see your mother's face. I cannot, see. The sheikh came out, and then the son saw the face. He came out as well, crying a lot. The son actually, he promised the sheikh while they were in the grave that I will tell you, but don't say anything to people. I will tell you later on once we are outside the grave. So once it's done and the son is crying, he took him into the side. The sheikh said, what's wrong? Why are you crying? And he said, no, I will not tell you. He said, you promised me. You promised me you will tell me. He said, no, I cannot tell you, sheikh. He said, I have to just tell you one, that the woman that we just buried, she was not my mom. The sheikh said, I have the paper. It's your mother, and this is her name, and this and that. He said, Wallahi, sheikh, I swear by Allah, her face was white, And Wallahi, what I saw just now, it was a coal. It was a black stone. And she was not my mom. And he's crying. The sheikh said, okay, tell me, what's wrong? He said, no, I cannot tell you, sheikh, and he left. Now the sheikh saying, after a few months, a man came to me with a long beard, and he said, sheikh, do you remember me? So he said, please remind me, I don't know who you are. He said, do you remember a few months ago, there was a lady refusing going inside the grave, and I'm the son. So he said, okay, I think he was before different than now. He said, yes, alhamdulillah, I made a tawbah, I'm changed. So he said, then why you left? Why you just run away without telling me? You gave me a promise and you have to fulfill your promise. So he said, I will give you now what exactly happened, and I will tell you right now. The sheikh said, what happened? He said, my mother, in her whole life, she never ever prayed in her whole life. that was the reason that she is refusing to go, and even now it's a dead body, but the body is refusing to go inside the grave, And when I saw that, I was crying. And then at the end, when I saw the last thing, which is opening her face and the cover on her face, and see, it's completely black. She is not my mother. And I was more depressed and I was more, scared. And this is what happened with me. So this is one of the stories that the Sheikh mentioned. He said, now look, just because she didn't pray for life and she was lazy to go and get up for prayers, this is what happened. And people saw and witnessed that the body was refusing to go inside the grave.